Let me sign in with Periscope here, and then Instagram, all these devices. How's everyone doing today? Let's go live. Oh, you know what? I hope I set that up because I don't think I turned my notifications off for Instagram. Hey, the Gram. Hey, Periscope. Hey, Facebook. How is everyone doing? So I am normally once a month, I do what I call, hey there, how are you? What I call a 7-day marathon where I broadcast live 7 days in a row. And so it's that time again. Hey guys on Facebook, see you guys joining. It's that time again. And my normally scheduled broadcasts are Mondays and Wednesdays at 8:30. Hey, darling, how are you? At 8:30 and 2 o'clock every Monday and Wednesday. And once a month, I do what's called a 7-day marathon where I come on 7 days in a row, right? And I broadcast. So my topic for this marathon, I usually choose a topic and we talk about it for 7 days. And my topic for this particular marathon is salon ownership, right? You know, what better thing to talk about with hairstylists and salon owners than salon ownership? I'm trying to read everybody. Hey, good morning, Tamika. How are you, dear? And so we're going to talk about salon ownership for the next 7 days, guys. Hey there, how are you? I'm actually going to kind of give you guys my experience. Let me give you guys some history on who I am for those of you who may join the broadcast who've never been in a live broadcast with me before. I am Tanya Wilson Cherry. I'm a business consultant and certified life coach. I have a 20-plus year background in the beauty industry as a licensed cosmetologist and 10 years as a former salon owner. I help entrepreneurs and beauty industry professionals like yourself form working systems in their business, help them maintain the customers they have, get new customers, and profit. Hey, niece, how are you on Facebook? Now, Facebook, I actually have my one of my cameras set up on my laptop. I just want to make sure that you guys can visually see the picture. Make sure the camera's not covering it because it's covering part of it for me. I'm doing good, Tamika. I'm doing really, really good. So, guys, I'm going to talk about my experience over the next 7 days as a salon owner. As I said before, I'm a licensed cosmetologist. I owned a salon for about 10 years. And then we're going to walk through some strategies and some tips. One of the things that I realize for most people who become licensed, one of their goals is to own a salon, right? You can't see anything on Instagram. Let me see. That might have been the reason. Lord, you know what? I'm so glad you said that because I think I rocked out like that the whole broadcast before, not realizing it. So I appreciate you telling me that. Can you see now? I needed to turn that screen around. Thank you for letting me know. Thanks for letting me know. So I'm going to give you guys my experience. Awesome. Over the next 7 days that we talk. You're welcome, dear. And then I'm going to give you some strategies, and we're going to talk about some things that I've heard stylists say that they have, concerns about. So first, I remember this was about a year and a half ago. I was asked to speak at Miller Mott College to the cosmetology department. And one of the things, if you followed me long enough, one of the things that I'm big on is vision, right? And vision is like being able to see out a lot further than where you are right now. So in that particular setting, I actually asked them, where they saw themselves, in the next 5 years. They didn't have to put their name on the paper. I had little slips of paper. I just wanted them to get an idea of what they wanted to do, because my personal story, when I went to hair school, my goal at that time was to become a licensed hairstylist. If anybody else, that was just their goal in the beginning. They couldn't see that much further out when they started. If that was perhaps your particular situation as well, put a 1 in the comments for me. Put a 1 in the comments if your goal. And for those of you who already had a bigger goal, hands up to you. But for me, I've been in the industry 20 plus years. And at that time, I wanted to do hair. I wanted to become a licensed hairstylist. And I think that, had I known you too, okay, I see that Is that Tanya Parker, Anya Parker, Sojourner? Right. That was my goal. And I wish at that time, although I don't regret where I am now, I actually love what's transpiring in my career. But I wish that I had known to have a greater vision about the industry at that time. And so whenever I'm teaching, I normally talk about vision, right? I think it's super important outside of just being a hairstylist. Like, what are you going to do with the degree? You know, do you plan on just doing hair behind the chair for the rest of your life? And so I went over a few of the papers inside the class that I was teaching. You know, I called a few of the visions out, and then when I got home, I read them. It was probably about 35, and maybe about 80 to 90% of everyone in the classroom had a desire. Good morning, Miss Vicky. How are you, dear? Had a desire. And yes, I forgot, on Periscope, I can't see you guys unless you come in and comment. So for whatever reason, make sure that you comment so that I can say hello to you, because I can't see you otherwise. Hey, Miss Vicky. Hey, girl. Hey, thank you for those hearts. So when I got home, I realized that about 80 to 90% of the girls in the class who were going to be licensed had a desire to own a salon, right? And so I realized, I said, this is really like the big goal that most people in the hair industry have. And you know, it's definitely nothing wrong with that, right? That is a great goal to have. But I also think it's important to understand, like, why you want to open a salon. And guys, I'm going to talk to you guys about some strategies, some things to look for. Today we're talking about goals on on day one for the marathon. Thank you for all of those hearts, Miss Vicky. I really appreciate it. But I want you guys to understand, like, why is it that you want to open a salon? For me, I'd had an experience where I had flown out to meet a friend. This was before I got married, guys, right? So I met someone, we talked for a couple years. A couple months. They flew me out. I'm thinking we're going to go party and go shopping, you know, all that stuff. And they asked me, did I bring church clothes, right? And I'm like, church clothes. And at this time, you know, I wasn't saved, but I didn't dress provocative. So I had something in the bag I could wear. And after church, they began asking me questions like, you know, how much money do you make? And I'm in Atlanta, guys. And so, you know, every city or state has like this stereotype. And, you know, I love Atlanta, but sometimes their stereotype is like scam artists, right? So in my mind, I'm like, you know, do I really know this dude? Is he a scam artist? Why is he asking me these questions? And so he asked me how much money I made, and I told him I thought that was personal. And then he asked me how much money I had saved, right? And then he began to tell me why he asked me those particular questions. He said he realized that stylists made a lot of money, and most of them could not account for the money that they were making. If y'all understand what I'm talking about, put a 1 in the comments, right? This whole 7 days is just going to be a real talk, what goes on in the salon industry, some things to look for, some things to be aware of, some things that I've learned in my particular career, right? He said that many stylists made a lot of money, but it wasn't money that they could account for. So after crying profusely like a baby, because I was having all of these aha moments. In reality, at that time, I probably had a little over $1,000 to my name. And I don't know how many of you have been in the industry over 10 to 15 years, but $1,000 was nothing for a hairstylist, right? Because we made that in a week, you know, or 2,000. It was just really easy to accumulate that type of money. And so really, in all honesty, I didn't have any money saved, guys. I didn't have any money saved. And it was an aha moment for me. I began to cry right in front of him from the realization. So I do believe that was a God designed moment for me in my career as a stylist. I actually had someone right before that to kind of ask me some similar questions. And so I know God was really dealing with me about my finances in the industry. And so if you follow me, if you connect with me, I'm not only going to talk about hair, I'm not only going to talk about the business, because I realize, good morning, Patrina, how are you, dear, that at the end of the day, we may love what we do, we may be extremely passionate about it, but most of us want some type of financial freedom. Put me in the comments if that's you. Most of us want within our passion, within owning our salons, within being hairstylists, having that as our career, we want some type of financial freedom. If that's you, put me in the comments. Absolutely, Miss Vicky. Absolutely. We want some type of financial freedom. So I leave Atlanta, I come back home, and I do like a shift. I just completely shift. He had asked me questions like, how much money did I spend on clothes? How much money did I spend eating out? Those sometimes questions are actually that give us the answers to our next move. You guys feel me? Questions sometimes give us the answers to our next move. And one thing that I'm known for is asking you questions that haven't been proposed to you before, because I realize that we only do what we know, right? We only address in our life and in our career what we know. And so I came home and I put myself on a strict budget, guys. I was spending anywhere from probably about $100 to $150 a week just eating out. Hello, somebody. Freedom. Yes, freedom to be free. Absolutely. I was spending anywhere from $100 to $150 a week eating out. And I'm going to help you guys do the math on that, right? Because in all honesty, if you say, for instance, you go grab something to eat during the day, your plate might cost you $10 at lunch. You kind of like a heavy lunch. I did. When I was humping behind a chair, I like steak, rice, gravy, a vegetable plate, the whole nine. By the time you get a drink with it, you might be right at $10. And then you might grab chips and drinks and things like that. You might spend about $7 in that per day. And my girlfriends and I had a habit. Sometimes we would just meet and go eat. So it could be anywhere from $30 that I spend in a day's time. Multiply that times 5, we at $150 a week. Times 4 is $600 a month, guys. You guys feel me? Now this is salon talk. It may be things that you guys don't talk about a lot, but it's part of being successful, because if you don't understand money, you're not going to understand business. That's the first thing, guys. You got to understand money in order to understand business. So I came home. Absolutely, Simone. So I came home and I was like, okay, that is ridiculous. That's a ridiculous amount of money that I'm spending that I can't account for. Now, my bills were paid. I'd always have at least $1,000 or maybe $2,000 to the side, but not intentionally. And so I came home, I shifted, and I got intentional. And in about 2 years, I saved close to $12,000 and I opened my salon. So now we're getting to the salon aspect. And, one of the reasons why I decided to open a salon is because I felt like I had maxed out behind the chair. If any of you feel like that or have felt like that, if you own a salon now, maybe that was you before you opened your salon. I was like, okay, the only way that I'm going to make more money behind the chair is if I go to work more. Hello, somebody. The only way I'm going to make more money behind the chair is if I work more hours. And I felt like I was missing life, right? I was subject to only Saturday evenings. I might take a Tuesday off because they tend to be some slower days, but I was so conditioned, and I felt like, I had capped out in my career as far as the amount of money that I could make. So I needed another avenue to bring in other revenue, and a salon was the next thing for me at that time, because that's what I knew, right? Because that's what I knew. So I saved the money. I opened my salon. I didn't owe anyone anything. I paid for my equipment and all of those things. So I went in debt free. And that's one of the things that I want to suggest to you guys. If you're thinking of opening a salon, one of the greatest things that you want to do prior to opening your business is to make sure that your debt is really low, guys. Make sure your debt is really low, because what is happening now as a salon owner, you're basically adding another whole household onto your expenses. You guys get that? You're basically adding another household onto the expenses that you already have, because these are some things that you'll need to do before you open your salon. One of the things I did, I spent some time researching before I opened my salon, how much my supplies would be, my chairs and things of that nature. I shopped around for good rates based on, what I wanted my furniture to look like. I did have like the wood grain dryers, guys, but other than that, I didn't do anything extravagant as far as my salon furniture was concerned. But it was really nice. I had a nice salon. It was about 1,800 square feet. And I did a lot of research, guys. So if you're thinking of opening a salon, sometimes we only think about how much the rent on the building is going to be, right? Because we're like, okay, I can afford that $1,000, $1,200, $1,400, $1,600, maybe even $2,000 a month rent. I can afford that. But here's some things that you also want to consider and research. We're talking about goals, right? This is our 7-day marathon. We're on day 1. Let me do a quick reset for those of you who are just joining the broadcast. I am Tanya Wilson Cherry. I'm a business consultant and certified life coach. I have a 20+ year background as a licensed cosmetologist and 10 years as a former salon owner. I help beauty industry professionals like yourself form working systems in their business that are relevant, that help take them to their next level. I help them maintain the customers they have, get new customers, and profit in their business. And guys, unless you know what your expenses are, you can't make any goals to profit, right? Unless you know what you're spending in your salon each month, or what your expenses are going to be, it's impossible to set realistic goals. And I'll take you back to when I wasn't, saving money, at the time that I wasn't paying myself. I wasn't putting any money to the side. Yes, I could pay my bills. I knew I had the money coming in to pay my bills, but I didn't account for, what if it gets slow? Huh? What if I get sick? What if I get pregnant, which I did? I got married, I opened my business, got married, had a baby, right? What if all of those different things happen? Can I handle it? Can I still handle everything? Or do I have to shut shop down because I had a normal life event to occur, like marriage and having a baby? And so here are some things that you guys may want to research and consider when you're thinking about opening your salons. And this is going to seem small, guys, but it's not small if you start struggling in your business. One, are you going to have towel services? These are added expenses. Are you going to have a towel service to come out and clean your towels? Or are you going to need to purchase a washer and dryer? Or does the building that you have come with it? These are things to think about, because sometimes we just say, okay, yeah, I can handle that rent, and we don't think about those small things, but they add up. Are you going to need a cleaning service? Are you going to have to pay Miss Sally or one of your clients, or however you're going to do what you do to clean your building for you? Or are you going to have the time to invest in cleaning it properly so it's always in order for your clients? Those are expenses. The next thing you want to think about, you're going to have another light bill outside of the one you have at home. Hello, somebody. You have another light bill outside of the one you have at home. Now, for those of you who may be in a salon suite, all of your things may be included. Some of the things that I'm sharing may be included. But for those of you who own a salon where you can rent booths or have employees, you got another light bill. You have another phone bill. Are you going to have Wi-Fi? Are you going to have cable? Do you have website fees? Your professional liability insurance? If you have an accountant, you're going to need those things. If you don't have an accountant and maybe you use a service like PayCycle, it's still an expense, guys. And so you want to research all of those things and make sure that you're adding those to the expected expenses that you're going to have for your salon, because now you need to not only make the money to take care of your personal life, but you need to be able to acquire the money to take care of the bills at the salon. And if you aren't planning on that measure, then what you're actually doing is creating another job for yourself. Hello, somebody. If y'all understand where I'm going, put me in the comments. If you don't understand that you're going to have those bills and your new bills, you can end up creating another job for yourself where you're really obligated to go to work. And instead of creating another level of freedom because you've opened a business, you're not only tied to the chair, you're tied to the salon. So those are some small added things for those of you who are considering operating a salon is like having another house. Absolutely. Absolutely, guys. And then, and sometimes because we see money on a continuous basis, right? Money is kind of like fast money sometimes, especially if, you've built up your clientele and you have quite a few people coming to you that you're servicing. We can take for granted that it's always, that river gonna flow like that forever, right? But if you've been in the industry long enough, slow times do come. Hello, somebody. slow times do come. And so there are several things that you'll need to have in place. And I'm going to talk about that on one of the other 7 days for this particular marathon. As I said before, I'm doing the 7-day marathon, which is where I come on and I broadcast 7 days in a row about any given topic. And I chose salon ownership. You know, it's a lot of people that connect with me all the time who want to open a salon or who open a salon. And so my goal is to give you guys some value based on my experience, give you guys some things to think about that you may not have thought about that will help you in your pursuit for salon ownership or while you're operating your salon now. So those are some things that you guys will want to think about, you know, when you're researching before you even open the door, guys, because this is going to let you know, like, you know, how much income do I need to make to really be profitable? Keeping it 100, because it's a difference in making money and profiting. Hello, somebody. There's a difference in making money and profiting. What profiting is after all of your expenses and your bills are paid, what's left? That's what profiting is, guys. We make that real clear. That's what profiting is. And so our goal is to profit. Someone put profit in the comments for me. Put profit in the comments for me if that's your ultimate goal, to actually profit and not just make money to pay the bills. Not just make money to pay the bills. And that's what I do for entrepreneurs. I help them find ways to do things other than just making money to pay the bills, right? And you may go out to eat, you might travel just a little bit, but my goal is to help you to profit in your business. So one, you need to know your why. You absolutely profit. Absolutely, Brianna. You need to know your why. Why are you opening the salon? At one point, the reason I had opened my salon was because I wanted to create another level of income. I had maxed out behind the chair. You know, the only way I could make more money is if I work more hours. And at that time, early in my career, when I was young, I was going hard, right? Like I was behind the chair. I can remember one Christmas Eve, I took a client at 12 midnight. One Christmas Eve, and I had been rocking since 7 o'clock that day with clients back to back to back to back. So I definitely put in work, especially in my early years, because, you know, you have the energy. I didn't have children at the time. And I do agree that is a time for you guys to grind, go hard, right? If you don't have children and you're able to just really put in a lot of time in the salon, that's your time to go hard. But even in that, you have to have time to live a life or you're going to get burned out in a career that you love. And one of the ways that you do that is to have different systems in place, right? To make sure that the prices that you're charging your customers actually fit the business that you're running. I saw someone who was charging under $15 for a haircut who had been in the industry for a long time. Like, in my mind, I was like, is that your add-on top of your service, or was that just what you were charging? Because I don't understand how you can make it off of a $15 haircut. My haircuts are $60 and up, guys. And yes, I do realize that, you know, I put in work. I've gone to classes. You know, I've been in it for a while. But one of the things, you got to make sure that what you're charging is even enough for you to profit in your business. So know your why. As I said before, my why was to, you know, allow other people to come work for me and have another stream of or access to more income. But as I began to get, I'm going to use the word, as I became wiser, right? I realized that my goal more than anything was financial freedom. That was actually what my real goal was. It was financial freedom. And for me, financial freedom meant being able to spend time with my family and go to my daughter's events and, you know, travel if I wanted to without feeling like, am I going to miss money and can't pay the bills? And so when I really understood what my ultimate desire was, it made me restructure how I did business. And I say that because, you know, even as you're establishing your salon, as you're beginning to maybe open a new salon or maybe restructure, sometimes we have to restructure if we've been in it long enough. Yes, charging, absolutely. And, you know, there are a lot of things, you know, someone mentioned did a rebuttal on charging, and there are a lot of things to think about with charging, because we also have to be creating the value to be able to charge more, right? We have to be able to have the knowledge and the skill set, and we're constantly learning new things. So charging more is not just about, hey, I'm going to up my prices because I haven't upped them in a while, but am I really creating another level of value for my customers, right? So that's part of charging as well. So you also have to, when you're thinking about your budgeting and things, you also have to include money to go and get trained, right? It's a constant growth objective that you should have if you want to continue growing in your business. And so, as I said before, that financial freedom, and how do you get that financial freedom as a hairstylist, where you make your money from servicing a client, where you're trading dollars for hours? How do you do that in a salon? And so one of the things that you'll need to know prior to opening your salon, or if you are reinventing, or you just still have some things that you want to address in your business now, is what type of platform are you going to have? Are you going to have booth renters, or are you going to do a commission salon? And a lot of that is when you understand what your particular why is, what your idea of success is, because success for some people might be a commission-based salon, but understanding that it's going to require a lot more from you, right, as a salon owner. And on tomorrow, we're going to go into detail about the differences in a booth rental salon and a commission salon, right? Some of the advantages and the disadvantages. And these are some things you guys might want to think about for those of you who, have a desire to become a salon owner prior to opening your salon, because there are different responsibilities involved based on the structure that you plan to have for your salon. So there are advantages and disadvantages. So here are a few things that I would consider, right, if I was, opening another salon today. I would definitely do what I did before and make sure that I had low personal debt. Should you base your prices on the area you live in or your skill level? I think some of both of that has something to do with it. There's always a rule of thumb. Instagram went off on me and they're asking me to log back in. Give me just a moment, guys. I thank you for being patient with me, guys. I'm going to answer that for you, Patrina. I don't know why that went off on them. I'm going to sign back on. Okay, thanks guys for holding on. I appreciate that. So, Patrina, let me tap the screen around. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry, Instagram. I'm not sure exactly what happened. For those of you who are just joining, guys, excuse me a minute. I'm going to do a quick reset because new people may enter into the video. I'm Tanya Wilson Cherry. I'm a business consultant and certified life coach. I have a 20-plus year background as a licensed cosmetologist and 10 years as a former salon owner. I help beauty industry professionals form relevant systems, right, for their business that help take them to the next level. I help them gain new customers, maintain the ones they have, and profit, which is why we open a business, to profit. And so we are on our 7-day marathon, day one, and I pick one topic. I come on and I broadcast 7 days in a row. My normal scheduled broadcasts are Mondays and Wednesdays at 8:30 a.m. and 2 o'clock p.m. And my 7-day marathons I do once a month, and I pick a topic. And our topic is salon ownership, right? How many stylists and salon owners can always use new information about salon ownership? You live in a small town also. Okay. I think her question was, should you base your prices on where you live, or your skill level? I think that both of them play a part in your pricing, because They do and they don't. It's kind of hard to explain because you can just be so good. I mean, you can just be so good. There are people who charge $250, $500 for a haircut, right? But they've created that brand. They've created that level of value where people will go outside of the norm. And of course, regardless of where they are, that's not the average price for a haircut, right? And so there's a lot that comes with going way beyond what everyone else is charging in the area that you're in. Now, I do feel that your skill level makes a huge difference in the prices that you're charging. I feel it makes a huge difference because your skill level creates value, and once the people see value, there is a section of people who are willing to pay you for your value. You're going to open your salon. I'm going to open my salon. Okay, you live in a small town also. Okay, and you're going to open your salon. I think there's some advantages to living in a small town and opening a salon because the competition isn't heavy. And so if you have like superior value in a small area, you probably can capitalize off of the fact that there's not a lot of competition in the area. I've learned to know your worth. When charging, absolutely, you really have to understand your value when you're charging. You really have to understand your value. Where you live can make a difference, not a huge difference, right? Not a huge difference. One of the things that I did was I looked at my business and what my business needed and how much I was going to classes and the value. And I've never really had a problem with people paying, my prices. And I wasn't the cheapest stylist by far in my area. I may not have been the most expensive, but I probably was in the range of one of the more expensive stylists in my area. I didn't have a problem up leveling my prices. And I did that as I increased my value and my work, and I began to attract people who valued that. Of course, there were other things into play like the atmosphere, right? That was available, the amenities in the salon, all those things, definitely make a difference in you charging. So atmosphere does matter. It matters. Let's take for instance, if you go to Neiman Marcus, you expect to pay more, right? And so maybe you'll see a sweater that you like in Neiman Marcus, and then it's maybe it's $250, and then you go to TJ Maxx and you see the same sweater and they're trying to charge you the same price, right? In your mind, you're like, I'm not paying $250 for that sweater at TJ Maxx. It's because that's the atmosphere, right? That's their brand. That's, what their store has created as far as pricing is concerned. So you guys will you're creating your brand all the time. Your atmosphere is going to make a difference in your charging as well, as what people feel like they're willing to pay based on the atmosphere, your skill set, and the experience that they get while they're with you. The experience is huge. Your experience and your skill set are probably the greatest two, but your atmosphere is going to play a part in being able to continue to charge more and more. So we were on knowing why you're opening your salon is so important, because if you have children and you really enjoy spending a lot of time with family, you don't want to get a salon structure that's going to require you to be there in order to make money. And there are other ways. Retail is huge, right? And there's an opportunity to retail on another level now that we have internet. Back in the day it was just hand to hand, but now that your customers know that you retail a particular product, if you have it available online, you've now opened that next stream of income up to a larger audience, right? And so just to give you guys a few more things to when I said lower your debt too, because you guys have to take into consideration, regardless of who you have working with you, there may be some times if you have booth renters that they late. Hello, somebody. There may be some times that they're late. And so during those times, can you still handle the bills? Can you still handle the bills? And that's why I said lower your debt, your personal expenses, so that you can make sure when life happens, if it happens, that you're still able to keep flowing. The next question: how do you start a salon without getting a loan and starting from nothing? What can you do to make extra money? Well, I worked more, right? I opened my salon debt free. I didn't get a loan from the bank or anything. I had a really stable clientele. I built my clientele to the point where it was extremely stable. And then I addressed how I was spending my money. I really went and, just looked at how frivolous, I would jump on a plane and go shopping. I was doing frivolous spending. And so I cut back all of those things, guys, because surely I had enough clothes to wear. How many shoes can you even really wear? So I shifted my mindset about my money, not just the money that I was making, but what I was doing with the money. And then I began to save. I actually had a client to introduce me to what was called a systematic saver CD, and they had that at what bank was that? At Wachovia at the time. And I wasn't really interested at first because the plan started with $50 a month. And in my mind, I was like, $50 a month, I make that, on a client. We must know business, no time for games. Absolutely, Kimberly. Absolutely. We must know business. And so I just put myself on a budget, for like 2 years. My budget went from like $100 to $150 a week eating out to like $35. I was like, okay, you got $35. You can go eat out once a week with your girlfriends and spend it all in that one wop. Or you got $7 a day. You got to figure out what you got to do with the $7. I put myself on a really strict budget, and I saved. But I was talking about Systematic Saver CD. They may have other programs available now. That one is no longer available, but it was with Wachovia. And I was hesitant because, they were like, you save $50 a month. And I was like, that's not going to get me anywhere. And but I realized that $50 a month would be more than I was already saving. And so you have to start somewhere. And I think many times when we're setting out to do things, we start so big. We start so big until it's unattainable. And so what eventually happened, I went from $50 a month, I increased it to $75, I increased it to $100, and then $200, and then $300. And I just kept going until that was the amount that I was actually putting up, every month. So I started really, really small. And I also did, as I said before, a lot of research on my equipment, my salon chairs, my dryers, shampoo bowls, everything that I would need for the salon, towels, capes, all of those. And I researched those things to figure out just how much I needed to be able to walk in the door debt free. I put all my money in my account to cash on me to spend when I have the urge. You got to find a unique way what really works for you, right? Sometimes you have to daily deposit. Oh, and I always made daily deposits. Even before I started doing the savings thing, I just deposited daily. And then when the banks switched over and began to allow you to make deposits when the bank was closed, that was really good for me, right? So true. I started cooking at home. Now I save about $200 a month. Awesome. So awesome. Don't despise small beginnings. They make way for greater return. Absolutely. And I think sometimes, the goal is so big that we're trying to do it so big. I had a stylist who is actually in the process of opening a salon, to ask me if I could give her one piece of advice, what would it be? And I said to start small and grow from there. Personally, that would be my personal advice. Start small, master it, right? Max out that space. If you have a goal, if you have people who are ready to work with you, and you may want to open like a 3 to 4 chair salon, max out that space, right? Let it grow a lot, and then think about acquiring another building. And if I could really say anything, because guys, this is another thing I did. I spent over $100,000 in rent. Breaks my heart. I spent over $100,000 in rent. Do the math. I'm just going to let you guys do the simple math, because if you spend even $1,000 a month for 12 months, how much is that? Somebody do the math. It's $12,000, but I'm going to let y'all do the math in your head. You're welcome, dear. You're so welcome. That's 12,000. If you're in the same building for 10 years, that's over $100,000. So, I would also consider, maybe I would start out in something really small that wasn't expensive, and then consider buying the building. I do know a young lady whose salon was up the street from me. Well, she's actually older than I am, so she had some advanced knowledge that I didn't have, that I have now. If I did it again, I'd do it different. But she bought her building. She started off she rented for some years, and then she bought her building. So if she was ever to close her salon or decide to do something different, she still has the property to be able to rent out to someone else or to use as another space. But start small. You don't have to start out owning the building if that's not what position that you're in. But also think about the amount of money that you're spending in rent. If you have another alternative, then definitely do that. So I would say start small, master it, max it out, pack it out, and then consider moving to something bigger. Unless maybe you have partners or you already, know that people are coming to work with you. But again, at the end of the day, I also run into many salons who have salon walkouts where, maybe they have, 8 or 9 staff members and 5 or 6 of them leave. And so they had become accustomed to using that money from the other stylists as a way of life. And so when that happens, can you still pay the bills? And I'm not saying that that's going to happen. It doesn't happen to everyone. But if it does, can you still maintain and keep moving on until you rebuild? We're going to talk about over the next 7 days. We're also going to talk about building teams and staff and hiring and things like that too. So you guys make sure you come back after today. These aren't going to be replays, so I won't replay the 7-day marathon, so you're going to have to catch me. I don't even know what time, but I will let you know in advance, just like I did this morning for those of you who are on Facebook. I'm thinking tomorrow will probably be around the same time, around 11, so you'll have to catch me live. We're going to talk about which salon structure do I do, booth rent or commission, and then we're going to talk about some of the things, an accountant, your taxes, things of that nature that you're going to need that are going to be different if you're doing booth rent or commission. And here's some things to research too before opening your business. Of course, your supply cost, utilities. Some of you may have a deposit for your utilities. Sometimes if you're renting a commercial building, even if your credit is good, they may require a deposit, right, that you weren't expecting. So you'll want to research those things as well. If you have a particular building or area in town that you're looking to start your salon, you can go to the utility company and ask them, what are the average deposits on these commercial buildings for even the utilities, right? Because that's also an expense. You'll want to look into your permits, the permits that you're going to need. You're going to need a business permit. You'll go to your city to get those tax ID number. You're going to go online for whatever your state is and get your EIN number. That's actually something quick that you can do online. Yes, you need a budget plan. Listen, if you don't know money, it's going to be difficult to do business. I mean, I'm talking about to really do business, guys. You may be going through the motions of business, but to really do business, you need to understand money and how to make it and how to keep it, right? If you're going to do business, you're going to want to look you'll want to look into registering with the Chamber of Commerce. These are things that you guys can do in advance before you even walk in the door. If you haven't done that and you do own a salon, it's not too late, right? It's not too late. But I say a tax ID number because if you're looking to resell, then you're going to need to have a tax ID number. Hello, somebody. You're going to need to have a tax ID number if you're looking to retail items. And different states, I don't know the laws for all of the different states, but that's something that you'll want to check in to see if that's something you need for the particular state that you're in. And then I said register with the Chamber of Commerce. And one of the advantages of registering with the Chamber of Commerce is because many newcomers that come into the city, they get like a welcome package from the Chamber of Commerce. And if you're a member, then you're on a list, right? You're on a list of people who are members of the Chamber of Commerce, and it also up levels your professional portfolio or your brand being listed with the Chamber of Commerce. And then there are so many resources that are available to you as a small business owner if you are a member of the Chamber of Commerce. And so, guys, that's my take on the first day of a 7-day marathon for salon ownership. little house business. For those of you who have not heard about 3D Success Mentorship and Branding Boot Camp, it starts on March the 27th. It's strictly for hairstylists and salon owners. The link to that, you guys can go and check that out. It's an 8-week boot camp for hairstylists and salon owners. We talk about everything. When we're talking about having a vision for where you're going, there's actually an exercise where you can get really clear on what your vision is and discovery on who you are and what your role is. But that link is bit.ly/3D Success, bit.ly/3D Success. I am the instructor for that course, although we have several other experts who will be joining us with tons of information. All of the experts have at least 24 years experience in the industry and better. My mentor is actually one of the experts. Going through the motions of doing business, something to think about. Absolutely, it's something to think about, because sometimes we're just going through the motions. We really aren't doing business, right, to the point where we're actually profiting. And that's where I come in, guys. That's where I come to make things clear and show you new ways to make money within your structure, right? Not to change your structure or your vision, but to show you how to create new ways of making money with the structure or the vision that you have, your unique vision. And so, guys, make sure you go and check out that link. It's tons of information. For those of you who think that mentorship would be great for you, it's an excellent opportunity. The course is $497 for 8 weeks. It's actually an early bird offer of $197 that's available now. And you guys can go and check out that link. Tons of information. My mentor is going to help with the platform. Great advice for the beauty industry professionals. It's time to do business. Absolutely. My mentor, Carolyn Marshall Covington, Kai Smith, the trichologist. We've just added a new instructor, and that will be Sister to Sister Beauty. You guys can look her up on Instagram. And myself, I'm trying to think, did I have one more? And I think that's it, but it's amazing. It's huge. You get all of that information. You get to ask questions. It's bananas, the things that we're going to go over in that particular class that are going to help you go to the next level, especially those of you who are new in the industry and you need some advice. You need some real-time advice from someone who has done it and who has had success in those areas. For those of you who are already in the industry and you know it's time to reinvent, it's time to do it different, and I need some real advice, that course is going to be amazing. So before we leave, the participation has been great. I'm glad I was able to answer some questions and give you guys some advice. Yeah, it's time to do business, like real business. Because, guys, realistically, you can't stand behind the chair for 40, 50 years comfortably, right? And so you have to be able to set your business up in a way where you can reach long-term success, where you can take time off with the kids and not feel frustrated or overwhelmed, or I need to hurry up and get back to work. One, because I haven't created another stream of income, or either I haven't saved along the way, or my expenses my overhead has been over my head, right? And I really haven't been profiting. So yeah, we really got to do business and really recognize why we open the business, which is to profit. So I'll be back on probably around 11 tomorrow again, guys. My schedule changes and gets a little crazier towards the latter part of the week, but I'll be back on at 11 tomorrow. There's no replay. Today there is a replay, but for the rest of the broadcast for the 7-day marathon, there is no replay. Like, I'm really giving all of the business, and you guys can just ask questions. And make sure you do me a favor, guys. If you're on Periscope, swipe up or right to share with your followers. Tap the screen on the way out of the broadcast to show some love. For those of you who are on Periscope, share it out with another industry professional. As the industry begins to change as a whole, we change, right? It makes the entire industry stronger. Once we all begin running our business as businesses, we're not competing with $10 and $15 services anymore. So the more people who hear the information and receive the value and can really understand that they're in business to profit, the more the better. So guys, on Facebook, if you can press the little share button on the left hand side and share out with another industry professional. We are doing our 7-day marathon, Salon Ownership, real talk, behind the scenes, the things that you need to know. And tomorrow we're going to talk about deciding which platform you want. Is it booth rent or commission? What's going to work better for you? What are some advantages and some disadvantages. I appreciate you guys as always. I'll see you on tomorrow. Peace.